Hello everyone. Filmmakers love stories about brilliant criminals who mock the police and devise completely impossible plans, of daring robberies, for example. But in reality, not everything goes smoothly. Moreover, officers of the law often have to face criminals who are not particularly bright and certainly aren't that lucky. Instead of hiding after breaking the law, they do something stupid and quickly end up in jail. Do you want to know these criminal minds? Then let's get it on. Crime tattoo. Mostly, criminals are pretty proud of their actions rather than sorry, but sometimes their pride ends up helping the police. In 2008, Anthony Garcia was arrested for driving with his expired license. Since Garcia was apparently an active member of the famous Rivera 13 gang, police photographed not only him, but also his numerous tattoos. And when Sergeant Kevin Lloyd was looking carefully at the photos, he suddenly saw a familiar story. Garcia's tattoo accurately depicted a murder on January 23, 2004. Everything from the sign to the position of the street lamps, the trajectory of the bullets, and other details on Garcia's chest made the tattoo a genuine confession of the crime. By the way, in the tattoo, the victim is being shot from a chopper, and curiously, Chopper is Garcia's nickname. In the end, pride, arrogance, and a good tattoo artist led Anthony Garcia to jail. Handing in your CV before a robbery. What should you do if a shop doesn't hire you and you need money? Just rob it. No, of course you shouldn't, but this story's incredibly funny. Dopey Umar Mirza, 26, decided to rob the Paddy Power store in Birmingham after he failed to get a job there. The thief, as expected, covered his face with a mask and managed to steal about $22,000 from the store. But the guy took off his mask the moment he left the store and didn't think about the surveillance cameras. With their help, the store owners immediately recognized the man who had recently tried to get a job in their store. The CV of the failed thief was found immediately, and all information, including his address and phone number, was promptly submitted to the police. The result was quite predictable. Mirza was sent to jail. Stolen credit card. Flora Lunsford stopped at a gas station in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. After refueling, she entered the store, and then a man stole her purse and quickly fled. It's a shame, of course, but it happens. But why is this story on our list? The fact is that it has a follow-up. 2 days later, Flora was at work, serving customers in a restaurant just 2 blocks away from that gas station. One of the clients gave her a credit card to pay for his food. When Flora got to the cash register, she read her own name on the card. It was her card. The waitress immediately called the police. Officers from the Pine Bluff Police Department arrived very quickly and handcuffed the criminal. They also searched him and found Flora Lunsford's driver's license, her social security card, and several other credit cards in her name. The guy was arrested immediately. Calling ahead. It seems difficult to surprise the police. On a daily basis, they face things that are hard to imagine for most ordinary people. However, even the Connecticut police were surprised by these criminals who decided to rob a bank by calling in advance. A bank clerk received a phone call from a man who demanded to gather $100,000 before his accomplice arrived. Otherwise, said the aggressor, revenge would be terrible. The clerk hung up and immediately dialed 911. So when the criminal was in the bank workers had already established contact with the police. After the money was transferred, the thief kindly asked to be let out of the bank. By then, there were already police cars at the scene. The criminal left the bank and met a policeman who ordered him to stop. Instead, the guy tried to escape to the car, where his accomplice was waiting for him. Both were arrested right away. Police identified one of the thieves as Albert Bailey, 27. The other criminal was a minor. Santa Claus. If Santa Claus enters homes through chimneys every Christmas, why not use this method as a criminal scheme? Well, at least because children's stories have little in common with reality. Keith Allen Schultz, 28, of Ridgecrest, and his partners decided to sneak into a house through the chimney, and he got stuck. Schultz couldn't go up the roof or down to the house, and one of his accomplices panicked. He was trying way too hard to break free, which then triggered an alarm, and soon the police arrived at the scene. According to the police, this was one of the easiest arrests of their lives, and probably one of the funniest. Schultz needed the help of the firefighters to get out of the fireplace. After leaving, the thief, smudged with soot, was charged with first-degree burglary. Meanwhile, his accomplices managed to escape before the police arrived. They have probably found another house to break in with a wider chimney. Sleepy burglar. Sometimes if a person's too exhausted, they may fall asleep in the workplace. But what if the workplace is a crime scene? Well, apparently, breaking the law can be pretty tiring.
Huh? Freeze!
In this case, Christopher Provozek got a bit too tired after breaking into Kevin Connolly's house. The thief searched the closets, took a ski suit, an iPad, a laptop, a guitar, and even the ashes of Kevin's dog. What do you need from the poor dog, buddy? You can't even sell it. Anyway, Provozek managed to go home several times with the loot and come back until he felt too tired. And then the thief found nothing better than falling asleep in the house that he just robbed, covering himself with Kevin's coat. That's how the cops found him. They arrived after the call of a very surprised Connolly. Trapped burglar. Many people are afraid of intruders and often close all the windows before going out, but always forget about the bathroom window. It's a shame because someone can enter the house through that window, except for Sean Crawshaw, who tried to get into someone else's house through the bathroom window and got stuck. The incident occurred in Radcliffe in Bury in Greater Manchester in December 2016. An old woman returning from the store noticed a man was hanging from the bathroom window on the second floor of her house, or rather its rear part. The woman called the police, who found the defenseless thief at a height of 4.5 meters. It's almost impossible to imagine a more comical situation, and the officers had a lot of fun. The firefighters who arrived at the scene got the man out of the window in 20 minutes and handed him over to the policeman. Once on the floor, Crawshaw, who also injured his ear, immediately confessed the attempted robbery. And rightly so. You can hardly think of another excuse when you've been taken out of someone else's window. As a result, the court sentenced the man to 2 years and 5 months in prison. We wonder if the judge managed to keep a poker face when examining the case file. Bumper left behind. It's probably a nightmare for any car owner to approach their car and discover that someone had crashed into it and didn't even leave their phone number, but just simply fled the crime scene. Repairing a car is very expensive and always inconvenient, but this Queensland driver was very lucky. When he got to his car, he discovered that it was damaged and the driver had fled, but he'd forgotten his bumper at the crime scene. The bumper along with the plate. The pictures were posted on the Facebook page Dashcam Owners Australia and quickly went viral. People wrote thousands of comments, including some really original ideas. For example, one of the users suggested that the owner of the car should put the license plate on the front of his car and pass in front of some speed cameras, because revenge is a dish best served cold. Double burglary. Most of the time, criminals planning to rob a house take some time to carefully choose the perfect location. They research its owner's wealth, calculate the moment when all the family members are absent, plan the exit, and make sure that Kevin McAllister's not in the house. But the British thief Darren Kimpton decided that preparing beforehand is for losers. At first, he selected a house, but failed to break in, cut himself, and left some DNA on the ground. At that point, Darren must have realized that luck just wasn't on his side, but instead, he set his sights on another house, which had already been robbed that night. And when Darren put his hand through the broken window and tried to open the door, he found not only the owner of the house, but also the police officers on the scene. Oops! Realizing his mistake, Darren tried to escape, but was seized after a brief fight. However, as was later discovered, the guy had a rather unusual reason for committing the crime. At the time, he had no house and no money to buy Christmas presents for his parents. Yes, Darren just wanted to give his parents a Christmas gift, and for this reason, he entered a house that had already been robbed. $360 billion check. How easy is it to become a billionaire? Charles Ray Fuller, 21, of Texas, decided he'd come up with a perfect plan to become rich. He went to the bank and said that he wanted to cash a check. Might sound normal, but the amount on the check was incredible, $360 billion. But no, seriously, what did he expect? The cashiers, surprised by the number of zeros on the check, felt something was a bit wrong and immediately called the police. Fuller, of course, claimed that the check was valid. The guy supposedly received it from his girlfriend's mother to open a recording studio. However, the woman stated that she didn't know what was going on and that the guy didn't have the right to cash her checks. Besides, the family had never had that kind of money, so it's not clear what the unfortunate criminal was hoping for. Maybe he just loves music a bit too much. Anyway, Fuller was arrested for suspected fraud, but then he was released on a $3,750 bail.
Psst, dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.